It's up to me to decide. But how can I expect to win if I don't try? No.
Okay, so without further ado, we're going to bring up the Northwest District President, Joe Braham, and he's going to do some introductions.
This is a challenge to put something like this together, and even last night I called Dwight and I said, you need to change the agenda one last time. And it's because of really out of selfishness. The keynote speaker that I'm going to introduce has a lot to do with me, has a lot to do with my career. And it's not often you introduce someone to introduce someone, but I wouldn't have it any other way. I want to be the one that introduces him. But before I do, as you were up here speaking, interesting enough, I saw myself in you. And I'll start by saying it was just 11 years ago I was a part-time supervisor. And Bill's wondering, how did that happen, right? 11 years, part-time suit, now you're a president. People made it happen. Not about your success, not about what you do, what your people do to elevate your success makes all the difference. So I turned what I was going to say today after I heard you speak, because I do see me in you. And the career path ahead of you is bright, right? Just know that. And there's people that believe in you. And that's part of the reason why I want to introduce our keynote speaker, because as I said, he played a big part in my development. Promoted me 3 times, recognized my potential before I saw potential in myself, and gave me the opportunity and the lessons to really develop myself and to put me where I am today. So, without further ado, I'd like to introduce the West Region President, George Willis.
Good afternoon, Portland. Good afternoon. I have to say that because I have to remember where I am. And when I literally, for those of you who spent some time with me, you understand that. And some of my responsibilities, for those of you who don't know, I manage the west part of the U.S., that's 25 states, and it's about during non-peak season. It's about 125, 130,000 people. We have somewhere in revenues around $19 billion. And it's the greatest group of people on the planet. It is absolutely the most fantastic job that I've ever had in my life. It is. It's incredible. So for all the other states, glad to be here, right? They all give you a big welcome. I just flew out of San Francisco this morning, and I'm headed to actually got another stop before I get back to California tomorrow afternoon. So that's life and what I do. What I'm going to have the opportunity to do is kind of do a little bit about what Dr. Hennessee talked about, Pastor Hennessee. And he said in his opening that Martin Luther King in his speech, he had prepared notes. Well, I have a couple prepared notes as well. And I'm going to absolutely go through those prepared notes. And then I'm going to take you through a little journey. And hopefully, as I go through that journey, you'll be able to identify with some pieces of that. Dr. Mason talked about being able to relate to anyone and being able to, there's common things between each one of us. That was a significant takeaway that I had. So hopefully, as I take you through that journey, once I get through the prepared notes, you'll be able to relate a little bit. So hopefully, when I get done, you'll see a little bit about me and you. Regardless of where you're from, or regardless of what you think I either know or don't know, any of those things, when I get through the story, hopefully you'll be able to do that. But before I do that, I got to do a couple of acknowledge myself as well. First one, I just found out, our musical Hall of Fame person Bye. Thanks so much for the bongos. I can tell you, I do more meetings.
Okay, and now I'd like to welcome up another special guest, Dr. James Madison, and he's the Chief Diversity Officer of Providence Healthcare. Thank you, Dr.
I really acknowledge you guys what you're doing with your resource group. At Providence, we value diversity as well, and like you, we all make strides and take a few steps backwards every now and then. I've been pushing the idea of resource groups simply because of the benefit it brings to the organization, how much you can learn. So I would urge you to continue to do that and expand that. I think Multnomah County does a great job with that as well. It not only includes racial and ethnic groups, but also includes social groups such as bikers, single parents, things of that nature. So take advantage of diversity that way. The other thing I would have you all think about with respect to diversity is understand that it's not an all or nothing proposition. We'll never get there. As a consultant with organizations like these over the last 20, 30 years, you go on the road and you work with an organization and they would say, you know what, James, thanks for coming. We suck at this. And I'm like, cool, that's okay. The goal is to suck less tomorrow, right? And what I would also suggest to you while we're trying.
We thank you for your words of inspiration, encouragement, and enlightenment. Very powerful. For a few moments, I have the opportunity to introduce the brightest of our part-time supervisors in the Portland Preload Division. It's interesting, our part-time soups are like Fuji film. They just need some exposure. Devontae Elliott, if you would come forward. He is an individual that Bill Snyder, our operation manager, have identified. His management team has seemed to be somebody that's on the rise. I have been a fan of him for a distance, and he got a few words to share with us.
Thank you guys for having me. I'm just an example of the diversity that we have at the Portland Preload, and I just wanted to tell my experience, what I've had at UPS so far. So obviously my name is Devontae. My first name is Hennessee, so my full name is Hennessee Devontae Elliott. I've worked with UPS for the past 4 years, and during which I've had great opportunities to grow not only within the company, but personally as well. Upon my employment with the company, I started as a preloader, loading package cars, and as time went by, I was able to perfect my methods and seek out opportunities professionally. To be a supervisor means being responsible for the operational success. By that, I mean ownership of the area that you are overseeing, keeping employees safe, and training employees new or old methods that will keep you safe and optimize their performance. As regards for the opportunities I've been given to grow in the company, I've supervised almost all areas of the Portland Preload. I've overseen also areas in other sorts. I've overseen smalls, making sure that packages were unloaded correctly and then sent to the box lines. I've also overseen flow control, which just basically is make sure that the operation runs smoothly. And then I've even covered for my full-time supervisor. So I've seen the whole side of the Portland Preload. From these opportunities, my leadership skills, people skills, and overall knowledge of the company has grown. Another notable opportunity I was given was being co-chair of the safety committee. UPS prides itself in safety, and it meant a lot to be given the opportunity to help discover safety.
All right. From the office of the mayor of Charles Hales, to Mr. Kelly. As the mayor of the city of Portland, I am pleased to congratulate the African American Business Resource Group for hosting the 2016 Black History Celebration. It is my understanding that you will have regional and district leaders, along with community members participating in your celebration. I extend my apology that Nancy and I are unable to attend. If we were able, if it were possible, we would have loved to join you in this great community celebration. The city of Portland appreciates the invaluable contribution that UPS has made to diversity and inclusion. You have been a solid model employer, making it clear that every employee's background, thought, perspective is valued and respected. Thank you for making a difference in the life of Portlandians and our unwavering commitment to support diversity development in the city workforce. On behalf of the people of Portland, I extend my best wishes to you for a memorable, remarkable event. Honorable Charles Hales.
So Jordan, King Jarvis, does anybody in this room even know who he is? You ever heard of him at all? Not you, George Gibbs. Right? This was the first African American executive for UPS. This. You guys ever heard of Cal Darden?
Yep.
Oh, yes.
You guys ever heard of Myron Gray?
Yep.
Yeah, you heard of him, right? He was first. He was first. Went to a school that some of you might have heard of, called Tuskegee. He was in the military. Came to UPS with a degree, military training. You know what his first job was? Any idea? He was a porter. And for those of you who don't know, he sweat. Now think about that. Degree. These are the facts. These are the facts. And what made him keep coming back and doing that? He had a degree, he had been in the military. Why would he do that? Well, I asked him. Real conversation. I actually know him. And he simply explained this to me, it might have been 15 years ago. And this is what he said. Because I was good. If they wanted me to be a porter, I had to be the best porter. I want you all to get that. If they wanted me to be the porter, I was going to be the best one. So if they asked me to sweep 10 feet, I swept 15 feet. If they asked me to clean that wall, I cleaned 2 walls. Whatever I asked to do, I exceeded expectations in everything I did. Did you guys get that? I exceeded expectations in everything that I did. These are the facts. How do I know that? Because I talked to him. Not just for this presentation, but many years ago, in a different kind of forum, I sought him out to talk to him. The very first one. And his career, after we realized how good he was in everything he did, this amazing company embraced that, and he continued to move forward. But the first thing that he always has thought about, when you think of Ken Jarvis, even if you look at that picture, was excellence. You aren't going to find a hair out of place. Tie's going to be immaculate. Shirt's going to be perfect. George is shaking his head because he knows exactly what I'm talking about. Even when he's casually dressed, he's overdressed. I mean, all that is who he was. And that was the symbol he knew he needed to be, because he was representing everyone.
And then Dr. King began talking about other things, such as there's something that needed to be said to the people about the importance of working together and remembering that black supremacy is as dangerous as white supremacy. Isn't that right?
Yes.
He was saying that it is important that we come together and remember that we're here to work together as brothers and sisters, and that we should not allow anything that happens before us to change who we are ostensibly expected to be. And then finally, Dr. King moved away from his prepared remarks. He looked out at the crowd that had been gathered that day on the reflection pool. And in his heart, he began to say something that he had said before in September of 1962 in Alabama on the steps of Montgomery's Capitol, and in a couple of other places in Michigan. He said, I want you to go back to Mississippi. Go back to Alabama, go back to South Carolina, go back to Georgia. Go back to Louisiana, go back to the slums and the ghettos of our northern cities, knowing that somehow the situation can and will be changed. Let us not wallow in the valley of despair. He said, I say to you today, my friends, even though we face the difficulties of today and tomorrow, I still have a dream. It is a dream deeply rooted in the American dream. I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and will live out the true meaning of its creed, that we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men, and I will add women, are created.